So, Elliot, you was in Paris during the attacks on Friday the 13th. Can you explain a bit more about what you guys were doing there and your experience?
Okay, so we were there for the weekend as an annual trip that we do with the French Society. We go out, 50 of us roughly, take a coach down and just go and experience Paris for a weekend. And so the plan was to go out in the evening, go to a bar, have a bit of a fun time, and then go off and see the rest of Paris the next day. But whilst at this bar that we were at, we got told to leave basically halfway through at about 9:30. One of the bouncers came up to us and said we all had to leave, we all had to get out, and then there had been a terrorist attack. We didn't understand any of that. That didn't seem like something something that would happen. And the next thing we know, we're getting phone calls from family and friends going, are you okay? Are you safe? And we're like, what's going on? What's happening? And they told us there'd been a bomb, a suicide bomb out at the Stade de France, and that there were some shootings as well reported. At this point, we're starting to panic a little bit. So we thought the best thing to do was to head back to our hostel, which was in the 10th arrondissement, which I don't know how much you know, but that was where the attacks actually happened. And so we're walking back to the hostel, and we just have loads of police cars coming past us, loads of ambulances, pretty much a solid line, and we just realised they're going in the same direction as us, and that we can't keep going that way. So we stopped and we re-evaluated and decided that we've got to find some cover, some shelter, somewhere we could stay. And amazingly and generously and fantastic, we found a Japanese restaurant where the owner was willing to let us, stay in there for a few hours at least. And he put the metal shutters down, and it turned out that we stayed there for the night.
So you was walking back from the bar when you saw all these cars coming past you. What went through your head? It must have been quite terrifying.
For me, I was worried about everyone there. We were 50 people. That's a big group, and that's in an attack like this. That's we at that time there were 6 gunmen still on the loose. We didn't know where they were, what the situation was. And for 50 people to be walking through the streets of Paris, it was a big target. So my personal view was, and it was a lot of views shared by everyone else, was to get into cover and to get out of sight, really.
So once you was kind of in this Japanese restaurant and they shut the barriers down and everything, how were you finding out any information about what was going on? How were you getting the information to you?
Yeah, so we had a TV in there that the Japanese owner put on, which actually I'd say did more harm than good. I mean, we got information, but it's not the kind of information you want to be receiving when you're not near from home in a foreign country, in the middle of the night. It was information about the suicide bomber, information about how many people are being killed on the street, pictures of the dead, things like that. And it's not what you want to see at that time. I think it did more harm than good.
Yeah. So how long were you actually in this restaurant for? How long did you have to stay there?
I think we got in there, I want to say about 11 o'clock. Maybe a bit before, and then we were in there till about 7:30. We decided that it wasn't safe to leave before sunlight, so we waited until that point, and then walked home from there.
So obviously that happened was it your first day in Paris when that happened? So you was there for another couple of days at least, and obviously France declared state of emergency, so no one could leave. What was going through your head when you found that out, and what were your plans, and what did you do?
I mean, it was just a bit surreal. We decided that we were told not to travel on the Saturday. You could still see, so on the walk back that morning, we saw police everywhere, like armed policemen, and it was just, everyone was thinking it'd be just mad to try and leave now and try and get home. And in fact, the hostel we're staying in were really good. They put up a free meal for us. They made sure there was entertainment available, put a film on and stuff like that, just to keep us entertained for the day, just because they understood the situation we were in. But it was just general, people were still in shock, they're still in survival mode, really. It sounds a bit silly that it was survival mode when we weren't really involved per se, but you still got that instinct to just, let's make sure, let's get home. and it's just not try and worry about it too much right now. Just what we did, I guess.
Yeah, so I can imagine, like, obviously parents and relatives over in England who are seeing all this shocking news on the telly and on the radio and online. So how were they ringing you, making sure you're safe? And
Yeah, so the parents and the family, again, I think that's one of the toughest things for a lot of people to do. Was talking to your parents, because obviously it's, you know, it's so close. There's the family, and you talk to them. It's an emotional business, especially when you've been through such a thing like that. You know, we did call them. We did a lot of. We made sure everyone called them on the night of the event. You know, even if they weren't picking up, you know, I was like, call some family member, because we knew how important it was. We knew that the parents and the family would be worrying, so that was a main thing for us, to make sure that we got in contact with them.
yeah. So when eventually you did leave Paris and you was on your way back to England, did it kind of like sink in at all? Like, we was just caught up in this.
Yeah, well, we were all really tired, and it was the journey back was long, and it wasn't we weren't delayed because of people leaving. It was surprisingly empty, actually, but it was a long journey, and it gave you a lot of time just to think about everything that happened, and it did really sink in, and especially when you got off the bus at Leeds, and we had representatives from the university and people from Invasion, the tour company that, you know, set up the whole weekend, there saying, "Oh, so glad to see you, so glad you're safe." It kind of really sunk in what we'd just been through, or what we were just a part of.
So since you've been back in Leeds, I mean, people I assume have gone back home to see the parents and stuff, but also what kind of support have you had from the university, from Invasion?
Oh, fantastic support. University's been amazing. They've offered, you know, any sort of counselling that people may or may not need. They've, you know, within a few hours of getting back, we were told, you know, if you need some time off, if you need to go home and see your family, it's completely understandable. You know, they put everything on the back burner. They're like, you know, it's a real situation. You know, this is, you know, it could have been potentially a lot different. And so we understand what you must have gone through, and you can have as much time as you need. So yeah, the university's been fantastic. Invasion's been fantastic, offering us support as well. And, you know, just friends around the university have been amazing. Everyone's just been so caring and supportive, and just making sure that everyone's all right. It's been really good.
Yeah. So what do you think, is there any fallout, kind of, obviously you're part of the French SOC and it was your trip, will they be going back to Paris next year? Or?
Oh, definitely. We're not going to let this let us stop doing what is a great trip, and what is a lot of fun for most people most years. It's one blip on the radar, and I guarantee it won't happen again. We won't be in the same place at the wrong time. So yeah, we will definitely be going back.
And you mentioned something to me earlier on the way here about you're going to be doing something from the Red Cross coming up. Could you explain a bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're planning a day to raise some money for the French Red Cross, because it's a fantastic charity. It's a charity that's closely linked to what happened in Paris, and the support for the hospitals, and, you know, people coming out with trauma issues and things like that. And so we're going to have a day where dedicated sort of to French things, French themes, so French food. We're going to have cakes on sale. We're going to have a raffle with French prizes available to be won. There'll be a wine tasting, French wine. We'll put on a film. We're going to get in some other societies and include them as well. You know, it's important that people aren't, you know, don't have these stereotyped views of what happened there. And so we're going to get, you know, everyone in the Islamist society. We get all the religious societies in, make them a part of really just, you know, giving back and supporting this fantastic charity.
That's great. Thanks very much, Elliot, for joining me.
Thank you.